reason where my phone is? We're not on, are we? Yes, we are. I don't know where my phone is. I'm so dry. Oh. I'm so dry. Clean the mic.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun, easy, and educational. Just soak your chia overnight. Then spread the seeds like this. Keep it watered and watch it grow.
Chia.
And before you know it, your chia pets and trees will be green and beautiful for everyone to enjoy.
All right. Well, I guess I can do these now. All right, guys, welcome. Just dicking around here, but we're this is a go. I'm the Mancow. It's Monday Night Live, and I'm having lunch and dinners and all kinds of stuff coming up in Hollywood here, and I want to show you some of the people I'm going to be hanging with. And I got this to get signed. And I knew Billy Barty, who was the midget inside the costume, but you remember Sigmund and the Sea Monsters? Johnny Whitaker. I'm going to be with him on Saturday. Sid and Marty Croft at HR Puffin stuff and all kinds of stuff. And this is a rare bobblehead I have of HR Puffin stuff, a gold one of like 100. And then Johnny Whitaker going to do that. We got Godzilla Fest coming up. Just got this from Japan, a very rare Godzilla piece. I met this guy that played Godzilla, the original Godzilla. And they don't sign autographs. They have little stamps. That's what they use in real life in Japan. But they will sign out their name if you ask him to. He did. And a guy said, "Oh man, you met Godzilla?" I went, "Yeah, here, have it." Just like when I met Metallica with Cliff, with everybody. And some listener said, "Oh, Metallica, I love Metallica." I went, "Well, here you go." I saw that guitar for sale, $70,000. The guy wanted the guitar. I gave him. I'm going to be having lunch on Saturday with Tom Skerritt. Tom Skerritt from Harold and Maude. He was the cop, but also he was Dallas in Alien. Look at that beautiful original lobby card from Alien. I'm going to have him sign that. This is how I get this stuff. From Michael Damian, who directed a lot of those Hallmark movies that my wife loves around Christmas time with Roger Moore, who was my James Bond. Look at the size of this and look at the beauty of this piece with full what's the word I'm thinking of? Authentication. It's a big word. Anyway, look at this piece of Roger Moore. How good is this going to look in Muller Manor? I assure you, you'll love it when you visit next. Someone is dealing with a child who's cutting themselves and doing some things, and they believe there's some demonic things at play. I ask you to read Larson's Book of Spiritual Warfare and get yourself to a Catholic priest. The priest I would use is Jonathan Caswell, Father Jonathan Caswell from the Catholic Church of Chicago. Hung out with this guy named Jeff Tweedy. Jeff Tweedy's in a band. I don't know what the band is. I forget. But anyway, gave me a nice book, and he's written a book about songwriting, and I've been writing songs with Jim Peterick. Jeff Tweedy. You know what was it Wilco? I think that's the band. Never a fan. Gianni Russo is going to be joining us, as are some of the other people that I just showed. Tom Skerritt will be joining us, and Johnny Whitaker. But this is just fascinating book I'm reading right now. I'm going to have Gianni Russo on from The Godfather. But if you're into The Godfather, this is behind the scenes and how they got the mob to let them do it. Gianni Russo is one of the olive branches, but leave the gun, take the cannoli. Could you believe at the Oscars, they did a 50th anniversary to the greatest American movie ever? It's not the greatest movie ever. The greatest movie ever is The Third Man with Orson Welles and Joseph Cotton. made by an Englishman named Carol Reed. That's the greatest movie ever. But the greatest American movie, Godfather. Second would be Citizen Kane by Orson Welles. But so they do a 50th anniversary, and I've been hearing stories from people in Hollywood that Al Pacino is suffering from dementia. I don't know if it's true or not. That's what I've heard. And he sure looked like he was suffering from dementia. And out he comes. And out comes De Niro, who I'd like to beat the shit out of. I've had it up to here with De Niro. Tiny little guy with his lift shoes, shooting his mouth off about Trump all the time. I'd like to kick the shit out of him. But anyway, where am I going with this? Oh, they play hip-hop music. They make it like, yo, 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 bitch, when they're playing Godfather. Because, everything must be made urban. All Western culture must be destroyed. And I'm going to talk more about that as well. So, I found one of these. It's the Mancow box set. You may remember it. It sold quite well. I think it went gold. 3 or 4 of my albums went gold. This is the sloppy box. And in it had the metal dog tag, but it also had hair clippings so that you could clone me. There was a clone kit in here. Pretty funny gag. And I'm going to give one of these away. Actually, I have a couple. I'll give a couple away to people who direct message me. Comment on the show. Tell me whatever. I don't care if you love it or hate it. I don't give a shit at this point. The masses are asses. Man, let them love you because they'll hate you even more. And it doesn't matter what you say. Did I mention church? Did I mention yesterday was Palm Sunday? Yeah, see right there, people are pissed off. Palm Sunday. I saw a debate yesterday that Roger Stone pointed me to. Nudie, maybe you want to get Roger Stone queued up here. Don't play it until I say so, but if you can, if it's convenient, you do it. But Roger Stone said, you got to see this online, and it was a big debate. Mancow Muller, Jewish? The U in my name has an umlaut. Eric, my real first name, which I do hate, E-R-I-C-H. It's Erich Müller to hear it in German. And it's just about the ugliest name on earth. Big debate about whether, I don't know what the difference is, but apparently, I'm part of some big Jewish media conspiracy. When I worked for Larry King, I heard the same stuff every night to Larry. Larry, who had a big fan under his table so that the farts would blow away from him and the guests wouldn't smell. But Larry was a lovely guy to me. I'm not Jewish. If you are, great. I am going to be having Passover dinner with my friends the Saldingers on Friday night. And we're going to be doing the whole ceremony. And as Sebastian, my wife grew up with Sebastian, the comedian, great comedian. He says, the Jews, they got breakfast, man. They got lox and bagels. They nail it. After that, the shit kind of falls apart. Let the Italians cater your meals, Jewish folks. That Passover dinner, you show up. What are we going to do? We're going to read for 2 hours. Okay. This is Sebastian. This is not Mancow, the Jewish guy, Mancow. Get a little bread. Get a little bread. Something. Come on, Italians got to have food. Get a little bread. Something. We're going to read for 2 hours. Anyway, yes. Direct message me at Instagram, and you can win this box set. Have I gone through everything? I think I have. Let's go to Nick Gale real quick. And a great. Perfect. Yes. Keep us safe. Keep us safe. There is so much I could say that would get you in trouble and me in trouble. Not me in trouble anymore. I'm already out of there. But Nick, take it off. Take it off, man.
Well, I thought you were in Philly now. Didn't they just bring back the mask mandate today in Philadelphia or something like that? Or
did they?
Or something?
I don't know.
They did.
I was at the David Lynch Film Festival last night at the Music Box in Chicago. And they played some real demonic stuff and these horrible scribbles, and it was really awful. And the title comes up, and it's very long and loud. It's this opening little film, and it says Scribbles. And I said, they ought to call it shit. And this fat bitch turns around and goes, this is a David Lynch Film Festival, and that was by David Lynch. And I said, oh, well, yeah, it's shit. Not everything I've done is great. In fact, a lot of it is shit, and I get it. It can't all be great. Dune got blasted quite a bit. I love the movie Dune, the original Dune. That is my Dune. Kyle MacLachlan, Sean Young, just beautiful. But, the thing is, what I noticed, and my friend Ben says, oh, we're coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah. And
I think about all the tough Italians that I've known in Chicago. Man, we're tough. And the cops were begging me. Oh, you were there. You were there. Nick, you were standing beside me. The cops are calling me, begging me, get your Italians out there to protect our Columbus statues. They'll never come back. The Italians were tired. All the Italian leadership of Chicago, they were tired. The mayor told them they wouldn't. I said, the cops are there. They're taking them. Get your ass. I'm tired. And my friend says, "Oh no, we're going to fight back the freedom." I'm telling you, I didn't see one black guy there. I'm sure there was. It's a big theater. This is not about black or white, but I want to talk about my people. Can I talk to my people? And I'm talking about white guys that would go see Dune at midnight last night at the Music Box. And they're all these skinny guys. They all had masks on. They're all feminine. Have you noticed now that it's this? They walk around like this. It used to be like this. Now it's this. And by the way, feminine doesn't mean gay. I met feminine guys that got a lot of tail, and I met very masculine guys that were, balls on the chin type. But this, even if they don't have their phone, they're walking around like this, and they've all got fat girlfriends that boss them around. I want this. They're telling them what they want. And this fat bitch turns around. It's a David Lynch film festival. Now, my new thing that I do, Nick, this is not why you're here, sorry, but my new thing that I do is I'm overly nice. Oh my God.
Oh.
Are you serious? Oh, I had no idea this was a David Lynch film festival. I wouldn't have commented. I did. Anyway, I drove around a guy like a real asshole in a parking lot. I'm coming to you, Nick, but you're used to this. Nick was my newsman. Anyway, I drove around like I was a real asshole. I had a friend's Jaguar for an hour. My friend Larry Trolla, and I drove around like a real asshole. And he says, "Did Daddy let you out with a car?" And I said, "Wow, do you know my father? Please don't tell on me." See, that's funny to me. My friend Nathan gets out of the car. "Come on, man, you want to start some shit? I'll kick the shit out of you." Nathan, calm down. I just find that these communists, these muzzle wearers, you gotta get it. You gotta get it. Give it to the 4-year-olders. I just know they're just miserable. They're afraid. $10 a gallon gas. They don't care as long as Trump doesn't mean tweet. My people, my white men, they have titties. They're standing there with a soy cup and they're cut their hand like this.
Yeah.
And they scroll like this. And I just think, what a bunch of emasculated pussies. And are we going to fight back? I don't know. I'm with Ukraine. I'm with whatever they tell me. Oh, you're killing me if you don't put that on. No, it's good to teach 3-year-olders about how to give a. Yeah, I'm with whatever they tell me. Who are these people? Look, where there is no foundation, what happens? It crumbles. On solid rock I stand. Everything else is shifting sand. So, Nick, forgive me. I had a communist with me for a while. We got his ass out and got you in. But were you with me during the Lightfoot days when we were chummy? Were you there in the studio?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So she talked a good game. We weren't all fooled. I mean, we were all fooled, but we weren't all stupid. I mean, it was mass stupidity then because a lot of people, I thought she presented herself very well. You don't know that somebody's a racist. I think she is an extreme racist against whitey. I have a restaurant in Chicago called Marchesa, and it's, I'm a businessman. And it's tough to do business in the city of Chicago, man. She's really destroyed it. How about the heads of Water Tower going, I don't even know if people know about this, Nick. Do you know enough about the Water Tower story to talk about it? Do you know what I'm talking about? The people that were in Water Tower, the big shopping center. They basically said it's too violent. We're not going to risk our employees. They gave it back to the bank.
That was the biggest shopping plaza on the Mag Mile, and they're done. They're out.
Yeah. Well, and it's because of the violence.
Well, and here's the thing, right? So she has got the violence working against her when it comes to this mayoral election that's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
She has so many people, or there are so many people that are going to be running in this race that she is destined for another runoff, just like last time, just like what happened to Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah.
The thinking is she would welcome a crowded field with the hopes that she'll be pitted against somebody who's just awful, who happened to get enough votes that she's automatically going to get voted back in again. It's not like the Rahm Emanuel days, which was the opposite. He won by the slightest of margins. Yeah. Her best bet now, her political thinking is, well, Let's have a crowded field of 18
Right.
candidates, and hopefully I'm going to be the vote getter at the end of the day.
Have you, this someone's quote, we used to play this on the show. We need to give the good governance to the New World Order. Yeah, she's a New World Order type. I walked with her and we were very friendly, her and her wife, and, good looking white woman that Lightfoot's with. I'd make the climb. And she, they're very nice at that point. And then, of course, the last St. Patrick's Day here recently, she couldn't make it 10 feet before the Irish told her to get the out.
Yeah.
And that's really what they deserve.
Well,
I'm hearing Willie Wilson, who is a very dear friend of mine. I love Willie with a capital L. Not everybody's Willie, just Willie Wilson. She's scrolling. I love David Lynch. What do you want, fat honey? Willie is running. Ray Lopez is running. Really, I'm a big fan of Ray's, as you know. Real pro cop. And then I think Paul Vallis will announce, and that's the answer. And I hate to say it, it's going to be tough for me because I know all these guys and I think they're good people. Paul Vallis could solve everything. Paul Vallis will clean up the water, the lead in Chicago water, and you can guess the neighborhoods, folks. You can guess the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
The lead in the water. Lead makes you stupid, and it makes you violent, and it makes you quick to violence. So you look at all the neighborhoods and guess, where do you think there's the most lead? There's none in my neighborhood in Wilmette. Stupid and violent and quick to violence. What neighborhoods do you think? And what does stupid do? What do stupid people do? Well, in Chicago, they keep voting Democratic.
Right.
And that's part of the plan. Vallis will clean up the water. I know because I've spoken with him about it for a decade. And he will give us, and are you ready for something that will change the world?
Yeah.
And truly save America?
Okay.
I believe he'll give us school choice.
Oh, well,
that would change America, school choice. And I said it to Obama. I said it to Barack Obama, and he looked at me. This is before he was Barack Obama.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, that phony piece of shit, and he said, you care about education. This is because I had to leave the city because I don't want to put my kids in city schools.
Right.
I don't know what's going on there, Nudie, but what are you doing? Just waving to us? Nice. Anyway, my producer just jumping on there. I don't know if he needs to tell me something, but I have one. Did I give you that?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Anyway, school choice. And Obama says to me, you, meaning white people, you care about education.
Yeah.
Black people don't. And I thought, wow, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
But, of course, the black community is used to black leaders that are really into being black until they're elected and then do nothing for their people. But, man, don't vote for anything else because,
Look at the exodus of black the last census data.
Yeah.
The biggest, it used to be white flight out of Chicago.
Yeah.
It's the black families getting out of Chicago. Why? Because of education. Because they have kids that they don't want.
It is the answer. It is the answer. I think we got some pretty good schools out here, although they've done some. That's a whole nother show. Nick, what do you think what do you think? What are the big stories in Chicago right now? The violence? Is that number one? Nick Dale does news at WLS Radio. Celebrating how many years now? I remember the big 95th celebration. What are you in your 98th year now?
98, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, keep going.
Well, so the violence and the mayoral race are probably the two biggest things, but I think they're very strongly tied together. There's a lot of people that are speculating that Mike Quigley might jump in to this race. Mike Quigley is a decent guy. He's a Democrat.
I don't know.
I think that he knows both sides. He's a North Side congressman.
Yeah.
The problem is
Arnie Duncan's out. I had heard Arnie Duncan, but that's out, right? No, Arnie Duncan.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. But anybody that wants to be mayor of Chicago has got to be somewhat nuts because it's a losing battle. I don't think anybody, and the biggest problem right now is crime. I don't think anybody can get in there and solve the crime problem. And you know what? That's 4 years. That's
Hold on. Black folks are waking up. They can't stand the bullshit from their black leaders. I agree with it. Vallis and Lopez should team up professionally. I mean, that's hilarious. I gave my neighbors away. I don't know what that means. F the Democrats. I think I understand what that means. Chris Plant is, someone just said Chris Plant is the best thing on WLS. I have said that
He's good.
forever. He's the best thing on radio. He's the best thing in the nation. He's the best thing, and we're going to be speaking with him in a few minutes. I don't even know if people knew that. Chris Plant is coming up. Call your friends and tell them. Nick, your ex-host, and I don't need to mention his name, and his name, he's not going to be remembered. The guy that went on the show after me, and I have no ill will towards him, and I could have helped him so much, and I could have helped him.
Yes. I
offered to help. I sent out let me help you. He wasn't interested. Even with my brilliant ex-producer, he wasn't interested. And I could have really helped him. And there's no need to go into it. I don't want to get you in trouble with your bosses. You still have a job. So I don't want to get you in trouble with your bosses. But I could have really helped him. As you know, I offered to help him. And there you go. I did hear on WGN. Maybe if we had an ice cream museum. Have you heard anything about an ice cream museum on the Miracle Mile?
No.
So there was some talk. No, but it's just like, well, what can we do to get people back? And the fake ignorance.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I've reached out to some Eric Soderholm and Jim Fannin, the life coach, and others, and some of the Sox and the Cubs players that I know, and Blackhawks. And what do you think about these numbers? And I'm not asking you this, Nick. I'm just asking the world. What about all these numbers of people that have gotten and are, young, the healthiest amongst us, and now have problems? And it's interesting the amount of people that don't want to answer. Well, they don't want to comment. And of course, if you got this, and you got 3 or 4 of them, you don't look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But at this point, you have to. I mean, even Bill Maher is saying, pretty stupid. Nick, what's the weirdest story right now? What's the human interest story? What's the oddball story of our day in Chicago?
Oh boy. God, I don't know.
Shit, if you were on my show right now, we'd have a meeting. After the show, you better have an answer. What guns you got back there? Anything worth pointing out?
No.
You know why I like guns? I like guns. They make bad people go away forever. And they don't have any more kids. They don't have tons and tons of kids. Boom. No more carjacking, Jagoff. Hey, let's play the let's play the Roger Stone who was supposed to be on. He's speaking in Nashville. Let's do the Roger Stone video, and then I'll come back for a second, and we'll hit the intro, and then go to Chris Plant. And Nick is the only local guy. God, I can't, because I'll get you in trouble. And I promised his boss, Marv Nyron, who I love, whose father passed away. Marv, sorry about your father. I love Marv. Marv and I had our battles, but it was fair. It was fair, man. It was fair. And I don't mind a boss. Hey, that sucked. This sucked. This. We don't agree, but he was intellectually honest. I hate the people that under Obama they loved it, but under Trump they couldn't handle it. Well, they're just party hacks. They're not honest. Marv is an honest guy. I have a lot to say, and I'm talking about across every radio station in Chicago, but there are truth tellers. There are truth tellers, and then there are sellouts. And I'm telling you, there's one man, and I know them all. Most of them work for me. One man telling the truth, and that's Nick Gale. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, sir.
Let's play the Roger Stone video. Thank you, bud.
Oh, a word from Roger Stone.
Hi, it's Roger Stone. I'm headed to Nashville for the world premiere of the extraordinary new documentary, Propaganda Exposed. I want to wear exactly the right hat for this exciting world premiere. It's brought to you by my friends Ty and Charlene Bollinger, and it's at the Global Vision Bible Church in Mount Juliet. And of course, I wouldn't be caught dead without exactly the right hat. I'll see you there.
God, I like that last hat. I like that last hat. All right, we're going to kick off, but not yet. I hope plants are ready to go. Canada is outlawing Holocaust denial. I have been to the gas chambers. I've spoken with witnesses. I hired 2 twins that were dissected by Mengele and lived. I believe it happened, but boy, is this scary. Free speech. Do you expect free speech in Canada? And I'm not supporting any kind of denial. The new Star Trek, I worshipped at the altar of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I love Jonathan Frakes. I think he's my favorite character. Shatner was at my wedding. He's a friend of mine. But as far as a character goes, I always liked Frakes. Riker. The Best of Both Worlds episode 1. As far as the TV shows go, the movie, of course, it's Wrath of Khan with Shatner. But TV shows, all the TV shows, The Best of Both Worlds, season 1, Picard is a Borg. Riker says, fire. It's the best of Star Trek. And the new Star Trek, this cannot be true. I had a major celebrity call me. He cast me on the show. I can't give his name away. It'll just be, but he's one of the top actors in Hollywood, and he's identified as right. He says, "Mancow, I know you like Star Trek. I like Star Trek. I'm watching Star Trek." They travel back to this year, 2024, to end white supremacy because it destroys the future. What? Have you turned on TV? Have you watched a sport? Have you seen a commercial? What is how much of our African Americans are 12% of our population? Are they 12%, 13%? Are they represented? Are homosexuals not represented? Are Asians not? Who's not being represented? Star Trek, they travel back in time to destroy Western culture. Very important. Craziness. And of course, the groomers over at Disney. Boy, has Disney got to be creepy. If we have time, I'll talk about that. Today is Pet Day. Donald Trump took Lindsey Graham out for a walk. Will Smith and an egghead, Jada Pinkett Smith. Look, I've always heard. I knew about Bill Cosby. I knew about Weinstein 10 years before any of you folks. It's just stuff we knew in the business. I always heard that Will was a fan of the, he wasn't really into the ladies. She's very masculine. The kids, of course, I think are pansexual or sexless or whatever that is. And he's an emasculated male, and it was a very sad thing. And this is a New World Order creation, a Hollywood creation. People that argue with me that it was fake are really stupid because, look, this guy was sent in to ruin everything. Look at what he did to Wild Wild West. That should be his punishment. Forget that he got banned from the Oscars for 10 years. Who gives a shit? You think Will Smith cares about that? Make him watch Wild Wild West for 10 years. That's punishment for that punk. Terrible sequels. G.I. Jane 2. What a terrible idea. It's not going to happen. It was a joke, Chris Rock, and I actually can handle a joke. Talk about horrible sequels. You're going to think this is an old podcast. J-Lo and Ben Affleck are engaged. That's a shit sequel. Betty White's things, everything she had, very old. Everything she had was auctioned off and sold, including a dildo made of stone. She had a dildo made of stona. No, that's one of those ones that I regret. Just as soon as it came out of my mouth, if I could take it, I'd probably Betty White Stone. Yeah, I can do better. Juicy Smollett has a new song out available on iTunes. Did I just see Pritzker climbing up ladder? Is that Pritzker? Oh, Climate Crusader, Lizzo. They all fly around on private jets. And, DiCaprio doesn't go anywhere unless he's got a 12-year-old girl. That's a joke. But, there he is. There he is, the blobby boy. There he is. Oh, by the way, are you still running for Governor, Mancow? Sure. Yeah. Just the way the Generals are still trying to win against the Globetrotters. Just the way the Brooklyn Brawler comes out to win against Hulk Hogan. My God, you know what? I think we're almost ready for Chris Plant. This is the Lion's Den. I hope you know that before you tuned in. This is where the angels and the devils fight. They're choosing up sides tonight. Me, I'm part man, part monkey, part mystery. And the angels and the devils are playing tug of war with my personality. And so I say, let it begin. Pull the string. Pull the string. Start it. So dry from talking. Do we have Chris Plant? Oh my God, there he is. Hey, Chris, can you hear me? I can't hear him. Oh my God, no. We'll figure it out. Chris, I'm not hearing him.
Hey, wait a minute. See, I didn't want to interrupt your screen, so I muted myself because it's a courtesy.
Chris Plant. I asked him, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you? Chris, why aren't you doing social media? He goes, why? Why? What are you setting yourself up for? Why are you wasting your time? Why are you doing all that stupid shit? I want to tell you that I hung out with Pat Cassidy recently, who, legendary guy and an old sidekick of mine, and he was fine. Most of these radio people, Chris and I don't know what Chris is going to say here with me. I don't know how much truth he can tell. They still got him like the Godfather. He's still in the family, so he's not going to be able to talk completely, and I don't want to hurt his career, and I love his girl, and I love him. But he will tell you that most radio people are just the worst hangouts ever. God, are they? You don't want to have a dinner with somebody from radio. Oh, are they? And Topper. Hey, Chris, how many stations you got? I got 200. Chris, at my height, I had 300. Assholes. God, radio people, the worst. The worst was Ed Schultz. You remember that guy?
I do.
God rest his soul, but what a fucking dummy he was to hang with. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's generous, I think. Yeah, he found his place at MSDNC, and then the Boneyard, the elephant graveyard. Stuart Granger walking through with a rifle under his arm. It's. I've been sitting here laughing. I've been howling at your whole thing. I had to go get my glasses to jump in with you.
No, keep them on. You look good, and that way you don't look tired. That's why I wear them, because you look tired when you do the hours that Chris and I. I used, and he now, and I was out and about Libertyville, and people said to me, Mancow, everything sucks on the radio. Everything sucks, and then someone said, except Chris Plant, and I said, you're smart, yes, Chris. I know, and and Chris, I will say this to everybody, folks, listen to Chris Plant, because he really will be gone. One day you will go to your radio, and he'll be gone. You can't get away with what he gets away with. To a large extent, let me finish, then you can wrap. But it's to a large extent, it's all bullshit. What I'm saying, of course, right? I would get suspended, but it was always the same week I was taking a vacation. I mean, come on, a lot of this is radio bullshit. But I'm telling you, when I hear some angry conservative, it's all fake, or they couldn't say it, or you hear the giggling people on the radio just because they can't say anything. And I hear so much conservatism, and if I name names, I get Chris in trouble because the company he works for and I can't say it, but there's one guy that reads everything really fast. He's a total sellout for the New World Order. There's another guy. 3 different people are replacing Rush in different parts of the country. And I say that this is an honest question. It's loaded for you. I don't want to get you in trouble, Chris. Are any of them hitting?
Well, look, I mean, like you, I don't want to sit in judgment of other people in the realm. There's no real function in doing that, no purpose in doing that. But it is. Look, it's it's a tough company, and it's because of the leadership of the company, and we're having we're kind of in a brawl at
I'm talking about all radio stations,
which is my mothership.
Yeah.
They just let a woman go, Amber Athey, go for telling that means they fired her, 26-year-old woman, because she told a joke about Kamala Harris's clothing at the State of the Union and said she looked like a UPS driver, and what can Brown do for you? Apparently not very much. And they fired her for that. It's like the Soviet Union. It's like Czechoslovakia during the Soviet days. You can't tell a joke about the most powerful woman in the world. You can't tell a joke about the regime in power. And when we hit that point, which we kind of have in the United States of America, we are Sovietizing everything. We're Sovietizing the United States of America. You were talking about free speech a few minutes ago when I was howling along with you at home. And free speech is very much under assault in the United States. I don't want to get all serious, but free speech is obviously very much under assault in the United States of America, and a huge part of it, of course, is the kind of neo-fascist coalition between the Democrat Party and media conglomerates. You see the piece in the Washington Post today. I guess it was yesterday, but I brought it in today, attacking Elon Musk for taking over a share. You were talking about him a little earlier too, for taking over a share of Twitter, because the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, actually argued in their pages that we can't have billionaires taking over our media, and they're owned by Jeff Bezos.
Wow.
These people have no sense of irony whatsoever. But our media is in danger because of the left and because of the coalition between the left in the media and the left in the Democratic Party, which has never been as far left as they are today. And honestly, free speech is under assault and in danger. It's been under assault for a long time. But now I genuinely think that the freedom of speech, you mentioned Canada. Canada doesn't have freedom of speech. Canada doesn't have, they never have. They never had a Bill of Rights. We're the United States of America. We're the greatest, coolest, bestest country in the world. We got the best of everything, regardless of your damn race or anything else. I also have a friend, my friend Randy, and he's got some teenage kids. He sat him down and had him watch Blazing Saddles the other day. Had him watch Blazing Saddles the other day, which is filled with language that you might not use in polite company today. 1974, right? And he had to explain to his shocked and appalled private school kids that this was, we were comfortable with this in the 1970s. Race
it was written by Richard Pryor. It was written by Richard Pryor.
Yeah, well, it was written by Richard Pryor and Mel
That's
Brooks.
the truth.
And you know this, because you and I have talked a lot about movies, and we're both movie people. But you know that Richard Pryor was not only one of the writers with Mel Brooks, but he was supposed to be the Cleavon Little character, and the studio would not allow Mel Brooks to put Richard Pryor in as the Cleavon Little as Sheriff Bart, because he was a little controversial at the time.
Yeah.
So that actually tells us, that informs us that this stuff was going on back then too with Hollywood studios.
Hard to imagine anyone being better than Cleavon Little in that. And I won't ask your favorite line, but can I tell you my favorite line?
Sure.
We almost lost a perfectly good hand cart.
We talked about that today at work.
And then the doc for sleeping on the job.
Slim Pickens, damn near lost a perfectly good $20 hand cart. Yeah.
Can't we get a happy song like Camp Town Races? That guy is, I don't know who the heck that actor is. He's still alive.
The Camp Town Ladies.
Oh.
The Camp Town Ladies. And then, of course, I get no kick from Champagne, where he included, which was an original line, where Cleavon Little included.
It's true.
I get no kick from cocaine.
Oh, shit. Okay. I just rewatched this. I'm going to turn this real boring for everybody. We'll come back to bashing the commies, but I just and I have more time than you do. I just watched Clark Gable and the brilliant Charles Lawton in Mutiny on the Bounty. Picture of the year. Just they really don't make them like they used to. The remake of Nightmare Alley, the Tyrone Power movie, that is one of the great, creepy, wonderful movies. Tyrone Power, Nightmare Alley, and Bradley Cooper remade it and tried with Del Toro. Is that the director's name? Guillermo Del Toro. Anyway, it's not watchable. But yeah, the Oscars.
I would still say, growing up, certainly when we were growing up, the majority of great movies were in black and white. And I think you could still have a debate today that, whether the majority of great movies are to this day are black and white movies or not. And I think the balance may have tipped some number of years ago. But, I'll still watch,
hey, brother.
Clark Gable and Captain's Courageous and the classics.
As we're talking, the sheriff is near. Stephen Stinking Foster.
The sheriff is near.
The sheriff is near. All right.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Yeah, excuse me while I whip this out. All right. Well, let's you went where I didn't think you were going to go, and I wasn't taking. I want to make that very clear. I didn't want you to talk about any radio people or any company. because I want to hear you on the radio. I want to go through the nicknames. You don't call people, and I really wanted to steal that from you. And if you weren't, I really would have stolen it. And I did steal a few of them, and I would call you and say I'm stealing that. What do you call Nancy Pelosi?
Well, Nanny, mostly Nanny Pelosi, as in the nanny state, obviously. And there are a couple of other names.
What do you call Biden?
Lunch Bucket Joe, typically.
Lunch Bucket Joe, yes, I remember that. What about, what do you call Lindsey Graham?
Well, you really can't say that in polite company, but
Ted Cruz.
But you made reference to it earlier.
The vampire, Ted Cruz. He looks like a vampire. Love him. Have you know all these guys? You eat at their restaurants. You see them. You live there, Capitol Hill. Wasn't going to ask you. Oh, Rand Paul. Have you been in his company before? Rand Paul.
I've met him, but only briefly.
What's the vibe?
What's the vibe?
Yeah.
He's a quirky guy. He's a little bit peculiar. But I mean, honestly, most interesting people I think are a little bit peculiar. And I think he's a smart guy. I think that he's a bit of an iconoclast, and we could use more iconoclasts in Washington. He's not afraid, maybe because of his father and the way he was brought up, but he's not afraid to blow everything up and call people on there. Fauci, we've seen him go after Fauci again and again, and correctly and rightly. And what he said, what Rand Paul has said, has been borne out. As he, of course, a medical doctor, unlike Dr. Jill Biden, whose husband bought her a PhD. And he's a medical doctor. He knows what he's talking about. He's a serious man. He's a smart man. He's quirky. And I got to tell you, if he were a Republican, he's been attacked violently, repeatedly. He was on the baseball field the day that the Bernie Sanders volunteer, James Hodgkinson, showed up and shot Congressman Steve Scalise in a suicide attack against Republican members of Congress, one of many Democrat suicide attacks in the last handful of years. He was, of course, attacked by his next door neighbor and had 6 ribs broken, a punctured lung, almost lost a lung, had to have surgery on his lung much later. He was attacked the night of the fourth night of the Republican convention in Washington on the South Lawn of the White House when he came out. He and his wife were violently attacked. And I got to, if he were a Democrat, he'd have the Nobel Peace Prize or something just for surviving all the Democrat Party attacks. He's a pretty regular guy, quirky, but in a good way.
Ukraine told us all the bullshit about Roger Stone and about Trump and everything, and it was all manufactured, the Steele dossier. Hillary really should be locked up. I'm with Ukraine. I'm with Ukraine. Ukraine, let's go off to war. And the boys go marching slowly off to war. I played, I was the king in Pippin, so war is a science with rules to be obeyed. And we've been at war every day since except during Trump. No wars under Trump. Every single president has sent us, whatever they call it, a skirmish, incident, whatever. But we're big business. Ike warned us, man. Big business. We love our war. The rhinos and these dummy craps, these peaceful hippies, they're the worst. Ukraine, do you give a shit?
Well, look, I mean, I think the good guys should win over the bad guys. Ukraine's being attacked by this old KGB guy. Did you see the New York Times the other day called Putin a right winger? Did you see this? He said, and they framed him as a Republican in the United States. The New York Times framed Putin this way. Now, look, I don't think that. No, there's a lot of evil in the world. Usually, communists are involved. Putin is obviously a communist, not a conservative Republican like the New York Times said the other day. But I'm not gung-ho for war any place, and certainly not in Ukraine. I'd like to see, remember the United Nations? The Democrats pretend to love the United Nations. What have they done for you lately?
Wow.
And
Nothing.
NATO, President to the New York Times also said that Republicans are anti-NATO and anti-Western values. That's what the New York Times said. And that's why Republicans are with Putin.
Chris,
now, I'm not gung-ho about Ukraine. I'd give them weapons. I'd give them intelligence.
What would Trump do? Would Trump have put boots on the ground there?
No.
I don't think so.
I would not put. No.
UN should be. UN is. It's their time is over. NATO. The world has changed. Is China behind all of this? Right. The art of war. Sun Tzu. Get your enemies fighting. Weaken us. Everything's weakening us.
Right. Well, the Chinese are announcing increasing their nuclear weapons, and they're growing their deep water navy, their blue water navy, and they're during. Also, you notice this. The bad guys under Obama, they invaded everybody. They took over the Chinese took over coral reefs, turned them into islands. Remember
Right.
when they used to care about the environment, the Democrats? You were, I think you were talking about slashing tires earlier, and the Democrats, their new plan to save the planet by deflating the tires on SUVs. These people are mentally ill. But the Chinese under Obama, they were invading Ukraine. They were the Chinese were the North Koreans were firing missiles. The Chinese were turning coral reefs into islands and then turning the islands into air bases. And nobody raised an eyebrow. And you're right, 4 years of peace under President Trump. And part of it, and you know this, but part of it was that the news media had so demonized President Trump that the American news media, the CNN and the New York Times, terrorized the world and made them fear Donald Trump to the point where North Korea, Putin, and Xi Jinping were pretty much in line.
Yeah.
And it benefited
Chris?
humanity, which
Chris?
is our role in the world, right?
Chris, I want to read a few things. Ukraine
Yeah.
is money laundering machine for the Bidens. I know that. Hey,
That's a
Cal,
fact.
do you still talk to the Dice Man? I sure do. I wrote his album called Filth. And boy, I hope my daughters never hear about that, because how do I explain that? Chris, look, I love my father. Death ends a life, but it doesn't a relationship, which continues on in the survivor's mind towards some conclusion. I want to ask you something. The newsman that I saw as a kid, was that your blood father or a stepfather?
Stepfather. He's
Did
my
you hate
stepfather.
it? And I really, you're gonna love this question. Chris Plant's never coming back on the Mancow podcast after this. Did you hate him?
No. I was
Because you
texting
sure
with-
hate the news media, and he sure was. He was Roger Mudd, man. He was everywhere.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
So I mean, this what the hatred that you have for the CNNs of the world, and that was your dad, man. That was the guy that raised you. So what do you know that we don't know?
Well, so you're talking about my stepfather. His name is Bill Plant. He lives about 2 miles away.
Is he
pointing in that
alive?
direction. I'm sorry?
Is he alive?
Yeah.
That guy's still
he's
alive?
84 years old. He lives about 2 miles away from where I live in Washington, D.C. I was texting with him today. Actually, he invited me to the White House Correspondents' Dinner in a couple of weeks, which
You got to
may or
go.
may not come to pass. But for people who don't know,
Okay, Chris, will you go
Bill
and then do my podcast after that?
I'm sorry?
Will you come on and tell me about the inside scoop after you do it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, you bet. Yeah.
So do you love him? You love so how does it's like you having a kid that's whole mission in life, Chris, is I hate talk radio.
Well, kind of. Yeah. I mean,
So why though?
Here's the
what
thing.
what did you see with your father that you hate everything he was?
I've got to say, it started going south. He covered the White House. When I was a kid, my stepfather, Bill Plant, was a CBS News correspondent for 52 years. 52. Starting with Walter Cronkite, and Walter Cronkite came over to the house when we were kids in Chicago, and it was like the Pope visiting. All the neighbors came out.
He was a New World Order guy, wasn't he?
On the edge of the property, he had a motorcycle escort. Walter Cronkite. It was like my favorite year or something. My favorite year.
Oh my God, Peter O'Toole, what a movie!
Yeah, what a great
Martin
movie.
and Baker,
And-
brilliant movie.
brilliant
And
movie.
look, I've seen the pictures of you hanging out with Ronald Reagan as a kid.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Well, my stepfather, he's a news guy. But when I started doing talk, and I was with CNN for 17 years, right? But when I started doing talk radio, I just left him out of it because he was still
I
covering
can't do
the
this.
White House.
I can't do this
right?
when I'm in the car.
He covered-
I can't do this when I'm in the car. You're too long-winded. I can't on the radio. You're rushing to break. Why you're not answering? You worked at CNN. You saw your dad with CBS and Walter Cronkite. Why? I mean, this is so powerful. Why do you hate them so much? Why do you hate the CBS, ABCs,
Well,
NBCs
because
of the
they
world?
lie.
Wait, what? Say that again.
I was raised to be a truth guy. I was raised to be a truth person. I mean, look, my grandfather came home from World War I and went into radio. He went into the radio business in Chicago and in New York and beyond. And in fact, I've got him sitting in my office here. Hang on just a sec. I'm not going anywhere. my grandfather, this is a trophy, my grandfather, 1927, the
Wow.
world's most popular announcer.
Wow.
And now my father, who
Wow.
was my biological father, who was a Navy fighter pilot, World War II, Hellcats, killed Germans, killed Japanese. And he went to work for U.S. News and World Report when he came home. But he died when I was a baby. And we moved in with my grandfather, who was the world's most popular announcer in 1927, nearly 100 years ago. And so, I mean, I got three generations. My mother was in radio in New York from the time with her father, from the time she was 7 years old, doing radio. She was in the media business throughout the time I was a kid. She had a television show. And I was raised to be a truth person.
Okay.
And the media really got away from truth. They got away from truth.
So are we watching nothing but lies and propaganda, and is it controlled by the Chinese? Yes or no? Is everything controlled by is ABC, CBS, NBC, is it all Chinese? Yes or no?
Not entirely.
It's not a yes or no.
There are corporate interests, certainly Disney, and there are corporate. It's not all Chinese. No, they're lying. There are kind of two questions there. The first part of the question is, yeah, we're being lied to all the time, just constantly. Yeah. It's unbelievable how dishonest and corrupt the news media is. How much of it is China is a separate question. Certainly, there's an element, and I mean, the Biden family is more tied to China than CBS probably, but they've all got their interests.
Chris, you
Yes,
know
sir.
the famous, and I'm kind of half quoting here. I think I got it right, but basically the big Chinese saying is "big win, little talk." So they get whatever they want from our corporations, and we get to say, "Oh no, we love free speech," and then of course we help them catch their citizens, and we curtail our movies and our TV shows. It's interesting that you don't go online, you don't see this stuff, but you go on social media and you see a beautiful girl, and all of a sudden she starts having an epileptic seizure. This TikTok shit, and it's the most stupid a lot of it's ghetto shit. Yeah. And it's always pro-China, and then it's a beautiful girl, and she starts doing these TikTok dances, and none of that shit, and it's a Chinese company, and none of that shit is allowed in China. Boy, are they dumbing us down. And to serve man, how about that reference? To serve man, they're fattening us up to eat us. They are dumbing us down so that we will fall like overripe fruit into their hand. The schools are part of it.
It's a cookbook.
It's a cookbook. A cookbook. Soylent Green is, in other words, Soylent Green is people. What's the greatest science fiction movie ever?
I'm sorry. What's the greatest
sci-fi movie ever? What?
Is that what you asked? What's the greatest science fiction movie ever?
Yeah.
I might say The Day the Earth Stood Still off the top of my head.
Hit collect two Barato. Greatest movie to you? Your favorite movie?
I think we've talked about this. It's almost impossible to say because like everything from Blazing Saddles to The Godfather to Captain's Courageous. I have to go by category. I've never been able to give the greatest movie ever.
Greatest drama.
Greatest drama.
Yeah. Godfather.
Best years of our lives. I'll just throw that out. First thing that comes to mind.
Have you seen You Can't Take It With You?
Oh, sure.
God, I was charmed by that. I saw it for the first time recently. Do you like musicals?
My mother enjoyed them when I was a kid. They were out in the house when I was a kid, but I'm not a big musical person. I've got to say, I'm struggling to think of you mentioned Joey Brown and the transgender early transgender.
Yeah.
Curtis. My grandfather was actually a friend of Joey Brown. Nobody's perfect. Right?
One of the great mugs. I just watched It's a Mad World. What a shitty movie, but Joey Brown's in it for about 2 seconds. Is the CIA involved in our news media?
Way too much. Way
too much.
And that I covered when I was in the news business. I spent 10 years assigned to the Pentagon. My office was in the Pentagon for 10 years. And I covered the military and the intelligence community, and that means the CIA. And I've, the 51 intelligence officials, I'm making quotation marks with my fingers, that signed on to that letter saying that the Hunter Biden laptop looked like Russian disinformation. That was an information operation that was run against the American people on behalf of the Democratic Party. by the deep state. And that, honestly, people need. We live in an accountability free. I live in an accountability free city where people like James Clapper lied under oath to the Senate about spying on the American people. He lied twice under oath. No accountability. These 51 intelligence community people, who I hope the Republicans will subpoena in January, but they lied. And they lied to us, and their purpose was to throw the presidential election. Look, when I left, let me just squeeze one more thing. When I left the Pentagon, when I left CNN, I actually took a job with a Beltway bandit company, which we were going to do information operations in Iraq. That was the job that I took with this company just outside of DC. And it blew up because of a New York Times story, and it never happened. But what I saw on the lead up to the last presidential election was the U.S. intelligence community running information operations against the American people on behalf of the Democratic Party. And that is third world, banana republic, Soviet-style corruption.
I hate rhinos as well, believe me. The dummy craps, yes, but I hate the rhinos just as much. Mancow was born in Saggy Balls, Michigan. No, I was born in Suicide Falls, Missouri, actually Philadelphia. They lied their asses off. But there was stuff coming in for you, Chris. It was great. It's going by so quick. Chris, have you seen any illegals shipped into Washington yet?
No, not yet, but I'm looking forward to that. I think they'll probably make better citizens than most of the people we have here now.
Roses are red. Roses are red. Kamala's not black. Joe pooped in his shorts and Hunter's on crack. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Jeffro, working overtime. Okay, Chris, we're hitting a break. You got to hurry. Okay, I'm just saying that to get you stirred up here a little bit. Why is the Hunter Biden story a story? What's the story with Hunter Biden laptop?
It's the reason they're trying so desperately to kill it is because it obviously is. Joe Biden is big guy. Tony Bobulinski. We all knew this more than a year ago. The most important part of this story is the corruption of the news media, which is so universal. It's so complete. The left has secured information dominance in the United States of America, and they're abusing it every hour of every day on behalf of really the Davos international left. Most of them are too stupid to even realize this, but it's fashion. They've turned it in. They've made fascism fashionable again.
Okay, can you give me some yes or no's?
Sure.
Elon Musk, good for Twitter? Will it be good for us?
Yes. Oh yeah. I think he's a riot, and it doesn't mean I agree with him 100% of the time, but who cares? I don't know anybody I agree with 100% of the time. But yes.
In retrospect, was Nixon a good guy?
He was a great president. China, Russia, détente, SALT, Vietnam, the riots in the United States, which was all the left. He was a great president at a very important time, and a flawed personality, but a great president.
Who's our next president?
That's a really great question.
Trump?
If I were to just throw grass up in the air, Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis, yeah. Do you think we're going to get the? And I don't want to say it because then they'll, look, I don't want to say it because then it happens. You can't say it, but you know what goes on when you tell the truth. This is not a great time in America to tell the truth. Do you think certain things are going to be coming back in time so that we have to have mail-in voting again? Do you think the fakery will begin again? Because the Democrats are going to lose everything.
Well, I know that it's the Democrats' program, and there's a great story that ABC News put on their website. It's an Associated Press story about the election in in France yesterday, and no mail-in voting, vote in person, voter ID, got a sign, no drop boxes, no middle of the night stuff. It is, if you look at what they're doing in France, and you know how they love France, these lefties, they all love France. I wish they loved the way that they do elections in France. Find the story. ABC News posted it, Associated Press. France does elections. Now they're a parliamentary system. So, that's stupid. Our system is much better, two parties. But they had their votes tallied in a matter of hours. They knew what the totals were. because they're parliamentary. They have to go to a runoff. That's stupid. We don't do that. But the Democrats are trying. Well, obviously, all of this is about corruption. The mail-ins, the drop boxes, the middle of the night, the no IDs.
Shanghai is under lockdown. Shanghai is under lockdown. Are we going to have? Are we going to have our next? Right? Are we going to have our election shanghaied, as the saying goes?
Well, if they get their way, certainly. Yeah. If they get their way, there are still a lot of questions about the last election that remain unanswered. To be generous,
you didn't answer my question earlier, and I want to know is this has nothing to do with your parent company. I'm asking you as a radio guy, big picture. There's three different people that have taken over for Rush, the most important voice in talk radio, okay, in history, I'd say, or certainly in modern history. And I ask you this honestly because I don't pay attention anymore, because I don't have to. And believe me, the day you quit or whatever happens, you won't give a shit, Chris. You live in that world right now, so I know you know. Are any of the shows that they put in to replace Rush, are any of them hitting? I hope you tell me yes. But I'm not hearing anything from anyone ever about any of these shows.
You know, I think Dan Bongino is as close as you get, but he would tell you that nobody's Rush, nobody's going to replace Rush. Yeah, I think everybody knows that.
Are you a Tucker fan?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Are there other radio shows that you like?
You know, here's the funny thing. I don't really listen to a lot of talk radio. I never did. I started doing talk radio 17 years ago. And I was not a talk radio listener when I started doing it. And when I started doing talk radio, I decided that I probably shouldn't listen to a lot of other people on the radio because I might mimic them either consciously or unconsciously. Right. And then I never really got into the habit. When I'm in the car, I listen to talk radio, but I'm not in the car much.
Hey, Chris. So look, I started in '84. Yeah. Syndication didn't exist. I had the #1 show in Oakland, San Francisco, San Jose. This is not radio. I'm not being a radio guy here with you, okay? We played Barry Manilow. It was so funny on April Fool's Day. No, I'm just telling you, I had never heard of Stern, and never heard of him, and people, you know, he would go on and say, Mancow grew up in Long Island, he copied everything. Never heard him. I still have never heard a show. I have never watched a podcast. I am aware from people telling me that he did a show about raping my father using my mother's saliva as a lubricant on the day that my father died. I know that he sent a dress for me to wear, and we filled that box with shit. Everybody in the studio shit in the box, and other people in the station. There was a book called The Smoking Gun. You can get the book, Chris. And I have all the memos in this book, and they freaked out because nobody ever fought back against that piece of shit. And did you watch the movie? No. Well, you must. He went through some of the same stuff you did, program directors. You'll love it. I won't give that piece of shit a time of day. And then they tried to set up a powwow where I could sit down with him and we would talk things out. And then I would go on Sirius or XM. Fuck him. And he's going to burn in hell. And his daughter was spinning on the fucking pole showing her twat to everybody. And so fuck him. And my dad is dying of cancer, and this piece of shit is doing 4 hours a day on my dying dad's deathbed. My dad never made more than $30,000 a year. My dad wasn't a big TV star like your dad. I'm not bashing you. I'm telling you, you don't get here where I come from. And what my dad did have is a work ethic and love. So I know what you're talking about. I never, and still to this day, I haven't listened to that piece of shit. But burn in hell, you piece of shit. And you think I'm kidding? This isn't WWE. Come after me. I'll go on your show. I'll do whatever. I'll fight you. And he wore glasses so he could read. He had headphones so everything was fed to him. He had 23 writers in Chicago. 23 writers. I had one, this guy, and I kicked the shit out of him. And guess how many times he beat me in the ratings? I was on 300 stations. Guess how many times he beat me, Chris? Never! But why do you know his name? Why do you know others' names? Why do we know Anderson Cooper when he has about a tenth of the audience that Chris Plant has? Why? Because they suck it down. They suck down the commie juice and they spew it back to you. And you want that? This is the you wanted the shit. You got it. There you go.
Information dominance.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bill's great. Oh, Hillary, love him. Yeah, there you go.
Right. Well, Stern, I've got to say,
you're not a sellout, and I'm not a sellout. And I go up and down the dial and I hear him reading the copy points, the CIA-controlled shit as America goes off the cliff. And it breaks my heart, man.
Well, it's true. Look, the state, the deep state, the government, the Democrat Party, the media. As I mentioned, I think earlier, the White House Correspondents' Dinner is coming up at the end of this month. For years, I've been describing that as the Venn diagram of everything that's wrong with America, where Hollywood, the Democratic Party, and the media, but I repeat myself, come together in one room, and they congeal, they do all of the things that they do, and it is the perfect representation, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, of everything that's wrong with this country. And it's also about information dominance. They boycotted. They didn't go. President Trump didn't want to go when he was president of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and they didn't want him there. And now the Democrats are back in, and suddenly the White House Correspondents' Dinner is a big deal again because they reveal themselves all over the place, but they never tell the truth about themselves.
Chris, you heard it here. Time. If you don't get in too much trouble, after the Correspondents' Dinner, the first Monday after the Correspondents' Dinner, I want you to come and I want to hear the real behind the scenes stuff. Will you do that for me?
Yeah, if I actually end up going, I certainly will.
Let me know. Yeah. And I'm sure you love your stepfather, but you don't like those that followed, that lied. You've seen the Walter Cronkite "What We Need Is a New World Order" speech. You've seen that? You've seen that, right? No. Yeah, I need to send that to you. Walter Cronkite, after he was out, talking about how we need certain universal laws and basically certain people should be phased out, freedom fighters. Look, brother, we have my kids go on TikTok. I'm sure we have the Disney Channel. I'm sure we're supporting this shit. And I think a lot of men are with me. And I'm talking about real men. I'm not talking about the guys with their cell phones that scroll and they have their Starbucks, these. But my family would rather follow people paid by Big Pharma to read teleprompters for Satanists and do spastic TikTok bullshit dances than listen to the truth. And I think that's a lot of people. No. My daughters are 16. They have jobs, and I think they're starting to get a taste of the real world. They're starting to see that the old man kind of understands what is going on. And I hear that it'll get better. But I'm telling you, Chris, I'm telling you, man, nothing, Jesus, God, please. And I'm not blaspheming. I'm a Christian. I'm not saying Jesus, God. Nothing prepared me for teenage daughters.
I believe that. Well, you know that my best girl and I, we successfully avoided those issues altogether.
Well, you got to have sex, Chris. You got to have sex.
And it's one I've made some great decisions and some not so great decisions in my lifetime. But I grew up one of six brothers, right? One of six brothers.
I know your brothers. When are you coming back to Chicago? When are you coming home?
That's right. And and I when I got out of the house, I was like, I never want to be in a house full of kids again. And
when are you coming home?
I've just been looking for a quiet place ever since.
When are you coming home? When are you back in Chicago? When are you back?
Well, I want to come by and see your studio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My office. No, but when you're back, I'm going to show up. I'm going to make an appearance at your next appearance. Are you doing a radio appearance here?
Yes. Yeah. And let's see. Well, we're doing a Politics and a Pint here, actually, Thursday of this week.
Where?
Outside of, we're doing it in Virginia.
No, but Chicago. When are you back in Chicago?
In June.
I want to come see you.
Okay. I want you to do dinner.
We'll do dinner.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I'm keeping the flame going, brother. I'm a Chris Plant fan, and oh shit, my computer's on fire. No, Chris, you're from what town? You graduated from what high school?
Well, I 7 years in Glenview, 7 years in Winnetka. I'm from Pelham, New York. Before that, a little Shorewood, Milwaukee. Before that, by the time I was in first grade, we had moved 4 times and went to New Trier West with Rahm Emanuel, who you were told we were same class.
You look a lot better.
West.
And
we didn't hang out.
He comes up to about here on you, right, Rahm Emanuel?
We didn't hang out. I was out in the parking lot with the Led Zeppelin crowd, doing what this Led Zeppelin crowd does, and he was inside with the Leo Sayer crowd.
Where Tall Glasses is a great Leo Sayer song. Tall Glasses. Where would you go? I can spit, as you know. I could spit on Winnetka. I'm in Wilmette. I'm a Wilmette Billy. Wilmette Hillbilly, they call us. We're considered the Hicks to Winnetka, and then it gets worse as we go down the North Shore. But tell me, what was your hang? Where was your hang? Where did you like to hang in North Shore? What was your area?
I left when I turned 19. I had just turned 19 but Sewell's, Sewell's, there was Calamity Jane's in Glenview. I think they're long gone, these places, but
Homer's?
They served cold beer, much like this one.
Nice. Homer's?
And people were normal.
Homer's ice cream? Did you do
No,
Homer's?
ice cream, no. Beer.
They still haven't cleaned the place. What about Sarkis, the omelet place?
Oh, yeah. Circuses. Yeah, definitely. Big time. Yeah. Circus was, and he was there running the place, of course.
Yeah, he was great. Now that's not the same. And who did you buy your weed from?
Well, a whole range of people, most of whom are, lawyers or in politics or something.
DeSantis is the next president, Chris Plant predicts.
That's my, if I were to, again, it's a little early because things change pretty fast.
Yeah,
but if I were throwing the grass up in the air, I'm going DeSantis.
Do you have any questions for me, Chris?
How'd you get so cool? Where'd you get those glasses?
These are, the truth is, a rich guy named Bobby Hammond in Miami. I said, I like your glasses. And
Bobby Hammond.
Yeah, and Bobby Hammond, I later wanted to beat the shit out of. But Bobby Hammond took them off and gave them to me. So they sell for about $800. They're Louis Vuitton.
Wow, really?
And,
crazy, man.
And
what? You're much fancier than me,
I was out with Robert Fleischman from Journey and Chips Enough from Enough's Enough and Donnie V from Enough's Enough and my boy Ben and some other people. And it's so interesting. And I've talked about this on the show. And we were in Libertyville and nice, I'm not going to use the F word, a 3-letter F word to make fun of, somebody that's a homosexual or nice glasses. Are those your wives? And I'm telling you, brother, since I was, single and ready to mingle, you have one thing. It's called peacocking. You know the rule. You have one thing. It's either a wild shirt. It's either a dope-ass pair of shoes. It's a crazy coat. You have one thing. The rest is bland. Now, when I came to Chicago in '94 and I was single, how can I see anything? I can see. Believe me, they're not that. See? You can see. But it's one thing. And I would see all these people. Again, we're all unique. Chris, thank you for this because I want to go into this. You got 30 seconds?
Sure.
I went to David Bowie as a kid. And we spray painted our jeans silver with Dad's silver paint. I went to see the Stones, and we all dressed weird. And Mick Jagger's strutting, but I also saw Soft Cell and Heaven 17 and Human League. I went to Devo wearing a trash bag, okay? And the Alarm and all these, and we would dress and we would smoke. And I went to I think a Depeche Mode show with eyeliner. Okay, I'm not gay. I'm not headed that way. But, man, we're going out and we're going to party. And I went to see a band that I think is great called Arcade Fire. And they yelled at a guy. They said, stop. Why are you dancing like that? Stop dancing so uniquely. We are all the same. All the same. Google goggle, one of us. And
Freaks, 1932.
And Todd Brown, something has happened. This is a big thing. This is the biggest thing of the show, and you don't even know it, Chris, to me. Because I was out with these glasses, and I got guys going, oh, you're like stuck in, what, are those your girlfriend's glasses? And then every woman, we went to 3 different bars. Where did we go to eat? We were at a place called Hey Nani. Where did we go to eat? Shaku, sushi. Hey, Mancow, your wife, you those glasses? And every hot girl had to come over and see him and take pictures with him and get pictures with me. But it's been like this since I was a kid. And I just remember coming to Chicago and all the cool guys, they're all dressed the same. Black pants, white shirt, but they're unique and they're special. You're not unique and special. You're a communist if you're wearing the muzzle and doing what everybody says. And so you let your freak flag fly. And I've done it forever. And that was the America that I loved. Think of the comedians. Now we got all these guys looking at their shoes. They can't be funny because you might upset somebody if you're funny. All right? They're all dressed the same. Think about what we had. Bobcat, Dice, Pee Wee Herman, Emo Phillips. Emo. They were unique. What happened?
Well,
What
you know,
happened, man?
The left murdered comedy. They murdered humor. You know, Mel Brooks. You know, I saw Mel Brooks. They showed Blazing Saddles a few years ago at the Kennedy Center. And Mel Brooks came out afterward and did a Q&A with the audience.
And said we could never do it.
And he was naturally asked, he said, I'm always asked the same thing. Could you make Blazing Saddles today? And he said, no.
Right.
But you couldn't make it then either.
I am, you know, all these people are so brave. You know, Mark Ruffalo, total communist, the guy that plays the Hulk. Will Smith, a total creation of the left. I do want to tell you, I had, you remember Lake Street? Do you remember the BP gas station on the corner there of Lake Street? That was around when, anyway, the gas station you went to, I'm sure, when you were 16. And I got mugged. And I called which doesn't happen in Wilmette, but I called the Wilmette cops. They came over. They're always on that street anyway, because that's the speed trap bullshit street.
That's right.
And you know, don't stop the thugs. They're getting off the Ellen Robb houses. That's too much work.
Right.
Just chubby North Shore housewives. Just collect the money and make the speed limits. My car won't go as slow as these speed limits. You try going 25 miles an hour in a car. Try going 20 miles an hour. There's a speed limit right over here, 20 miles an hour. Try it. You can't walk 20 miles an hour. That's how slow it is. So anyway, I got mugged at the BP station over here, Lake Street, and I called the cops, full report, and they said, can you give us a description, you know, of who robbed you? I said, yeah, pump 3. Thank you.
Hey,
Chris,
we left out Sam Kinison, though. We shouldn't leave out Sam Kinison.
Well, Sam, Sam. There's
Sam Kinison live.
His sidekick is still out there, Jimmy Schubert. And if you want to hear something funny, Chris, this is your job for tonight. Now, I'm making you work.
Yeah,
I love, you know, you say you were at CNN, you were in the media, and you tell people, they go, no. I worked with Bill O'Reilly, and I tell people, what a piece of shit. The guy has no morals at all. He's nothing. If you gave him $1, he'd be left wing. He'd be pro-Biden if you could pay him. What can I say now? He's so full of shit, Bill O'Reilly. Such a bad guy. He wrote that book where Jesus didn't talk on the cross. It's the most atheist, godless, evil. F him. Where was I going with this? Oh, he always used to, every day you had to boycott something. Every day, don't do this, don't do that, don't watch this, write this. Too much work. Shit, I just want to watch your stupid show. Anyway, I'm going to put you to work. Find Jimmy Schubert dating Siamese twins for one of the funniest comedy bits you've ever heard, and it is not politically correct. So do you remember Lori and Dory, the one that had a midget hanging off of her head? They did my show. They were on Springer. One wanted to be a country singer, and the other one, they kind of put a hat on and she stood there, but they were attached at the head. And when I brought him to the studio, one sat in the front seat, one had to sit in the back seat. So he's like, when you take him out to eat, do you have to buy appetizers for the midget? When you're in bed, do you have to reach over and give a little something to the midget? How does this work? And it's hysterical. Jimmy Schubert. There you go. What do you think of the fluoride stare of these people? Are we waking them up? Did you wake them up, Chris? Are you having a difference, or do you just feel like you're not making any difference at all and you're wasting your time?
You know, honestly, I do think that I think we're going through a revolutionary period that maybe is not the revolutionary period that the left hopes it is. I mean, they've got, you know, the devil has the people by the throat, Casablanca, and in the United States of America, that's true right now. But honestly, I think the next generation, you know, look, I grew up in a liberal Democrat household, and Ronald Reagan and the Reagan era changed my worldview and woke me up. And I think a lot of people are waking up now, in spite of it all, in spite of the, you know, the Twitter and the Facebook and all the media. You know, they're not watching CNN and they're not watching MSNBC. They're getting their information, and it's all corrupt too. And I'm hoping Elon Musk will have some positive effect on that. But I honestly think we might see a backlash to all this that makes the Reagan
have an
revolution
honest election. I think these dummy craps are out. Runny nose. Oh my God. Fever? Oh, sweet Jesus. Cough?
Right.
Oh my God. You got to get it. You have runny nose, cough, fever, flu symptoms. How about this? A stroke, a blood clot, heart attack, neurological conditions. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about.
Well, I remain hopeful.
Boy, did they sell a bunch of eugenics bullshit on us. Your wife is your girl is very hot. I hope that you'll bring her with you. I hope we can do another double date. Mrs. Muller is very fond of you. In fact, sometimes she calls out your name. You know, I hear her on the phone when she's talking to you.
That happens a lot.
I asked her if I was the only one. You know what she said to me? All the others were yes. She said yes, I was the only one. The others were 9s and 10s. She says, why don't you buy flowers? Why don't you? Yeah, what did she say? I never buy her flowers. That's what she says. I never buy. She said that to somebody. I never buy her flowers. I don't pay attention to her that much. I didn't know she was selling flowers. Thank you. That's morning show radio comedy.
Well,
you can.
I know that you're a very happy family man, a very dedicated family man, a very good family man, and a very funny family man.
Thank you.
That's true.
I feel it winding down. Look, you're fighting the Tower of Babel, which is television media. You are the voice in the wilderness right now. You are the John the Baptist of. Actually, I think you're not John the Baptist, because I think the Christ of radio was Rush. The precursor was I don't know who was. I don't know, but you're post. You're a pope. You're a pope now. But the forces of darkness can't stop good, and forever. The forces of darkness, and I say this to the people watching, can't stop the God in you, can't stop the good in you, and I hope people will fight back. I hope you will continue to speak up, and we pray for you. I pray night and day for you. I'm reminded of the very masculine-looking Jada sitting there. Deuteronomy 22:5, I happened upon it. It says that God, and I quote the Bible, detests anyone who does this, and it's about cross-dressing. God detests anyone who does this. 108 people were arrested in sex trafficking, numerous Disney employees. Disney is not good for your kids. You don't need this program. You don't need that program. You don't need Disney. Get that out of your life. What else do I want to say before I end here? If you knew what the dead knew, you would turn to Christ. You would turn to the Bible. Chris and I have played chess several times. And Chris, I figured somehow I was playing chess with a friend of mine the other day. He said, how do we make this more exciting? And so we stopped playing chess. Chris, I'm rooting for you. I tell everybody there's one guy that I'm a big fan of, and that's Chris Plant. And what else do I have to say? Anything else you want to say? Thank you. Oh, God, I had one more thing I wanted to tell you. Were you on Dancing with the Stars?
I was not. I've never even seen Dancing with the Stars.
That's a Disney show. It's done after 16 years. It's done. Tom Bergeron came out against Trump, and it killed the show. 16 years. You got to admit they had a pretty good run. No stars. 16 years, no stars. Tiger Woods is out at the Masters. He can't drive. Pink Floyd has a new song for Ukraine out. I love Pink Floyd. Roger Waters hates Jewish people and is a bad guy. Have you heard the new Ukraine Pink Floyd song?
No.
I haven't either, but I know it's out there. And I'm with Ukraine because that's what the media tells me. I'm with the people that fake the dossier. I'm with the people where Joe Biden launders his money. I'm with Ukraine. I'm with the homosexual leader that likes to wear leather and likes young boys around him. He's a hero because the media tells me. So I don't know if they're related. One more thing. I took my little dog Peanut. I don't know if there's any relation to the company. But I took my dog to the Disney groomers. The Disney groomers.
Came home limping?
Disney dog groomers. And Chris, I got to tell you, my dog
came home with a terrible limp.
No, came back with a big butthole. Good night.